I'm Tommy O'Brien, a basket maker. I've been doing this for most of my adult life, well, 30 years or so. I got into it. I went on a course years ago to the Organic Centre, and there was a woman up from Mayo, making round baskets. And that was it. I was fascinated. I never got used to the fact that, I was always chuffed with the fact that you can take a pile of willow rods like that, and just through your own hands and efforts, you come up with something like this. That's, to me, beautiful, useful, will last a long time. And most people that get into this craft, or any crafts, they just fall in love with it. It just becomes a passion. They would do it anyway, whether they were paid for it or not. So, yeah, and then I started making round baskets. And I went to see there was nobody in the area. I looked at a few people that were still living, old people, that were making country baskets and creels and things like that. And they were delighted to show me everything they knew about willow and all the rest, and that was it. And I started making baskets, and then people wanted to buy them, and then people asked me, well, would you show me how to make, or would you show our wee group how to make? And one thing led to another, and I've been teaching people how to make baskets for the last 25 years or so, and making baskets myself and going to fairs and all the rest. And it's really been a great benefit to me. Willow in every way. It gives people, especially townies like me, connection with nature that maybe we lost and stuff like that with the change in seasons. We start getting excited now this time of year. It's coming into autumn. What's the harvest going to bring for rods? How much are we going to get? What we're going, we have that whole group of people all over the country that are into this kind of thing, that love making things and natural things just with their hands, potters and crafters and wood carvers and all kinds of different people, as a whole community, which is great, and we enjoy each other's company whenever we have get-togethers and that. I somehow made a living out of this for the last years and years, and I remember reading somewhere that if you have a passion for something, the chances are, if you stay with it, you become really good at it, and then you become a master craftsman, maybe. I'm not claiming that title myself, but your fees increase when you become an expert at something. So in a backhanded way, that's how you manage to, if you have the passion, you will get the rewards. And plus you get paid twice. Every time I make a basket, I get the satisfaction of making it. Even this basket I'm going to start now, every basket I get the satisfaction of making it, and then if someone comes along and buys it, that's all well and good, that's great. But I've already had the satisfaction of making it. And then you get great ones that come along, like I was on Game of Thrones, I spent a few weeks working on their sets, which was marvelous. I would have did it for nothing, and it ended up being the best day's pay I ever got. So you never know. As long as you're saying yes to stuff, stuff will come along, good, bad, and indifferent, yeah. And I've had people come along to my classes. There was one in Bundoran when I used to do evening classes for a few hours. Yeah, people came along for years. Never got any better at making baskets. And I was thinking, what the hell? Am I that bad a teacher? And that wasn't it at all. It was the social element that people came for. And if it took them the whole 10 weeks to make it, they weren't bothered. They loved that social element and the wee bit of crack and the cup of tea and the banter and, yeah. And not everybody that comes to crafts classes wants to be a master craftsman. They're coming for the experience a lot of the time, And just because, like, I'm 100% passionate about this doesn't mean that everybody else, you can be a little bit passionate about it and just enjoy the experience of making it. Make one basket and never have a wish to make another one, and enjoy it. You know, every time you see it, I made that kind of thing, you know. Yeah, you find that a lot. That people want to do things, but they don't necessarily want to. Yeah, and I often think it'd be a boring old world if everybody was interested in the same stuff all the time. This is what makes it, adds the bit of spice with all different ways of looking at things and doing things and seeing things. Yeah, yeah. I think it's the actual experience with the stuff itself. Because it teaches you whatever you learn. It teaches you, and people say to me, this word is it's kicked about an awful lot. It's very therapeutic, Now, and why do people say that? It's therapeutic. Whenever you're doing something that's repetitious over and over and over, mind is kind of redundant. It's got nothing to do, It's like if you're painting a wall, there's just you, the wall, the brush, the paint, and it's the same kind of feeling. Doing an action over and over and over, and you get kind of more at peace with yourself, because you're not being agitated by the mind, and the mind is an agitated thing. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just the way it is. The mind is always agitated, and it's always thinking. But when you put it into a place where it has nothing to think about, well, then other senses take it. Your sense of touch then becomes more dominant, if you like, and to me, this is just my own opinion, that gives that feeling of peace that people get, and they want to repeat that. Like, we're always moving towards pleasure and away from pain as human beings. That's the human condition. And something that gives us pleasure, relaxes us, we're going to keep going back to it, obviously, so. And I think that's why people find it therapeutic, even for a couple of hours. With some people, even to get into that state for a few minutes, maybe, is therapeutic, because they've never really experienced just doing, It's like when you ride a bicycle for the first time and you're just doing it, it's just happening. Yeah, it's a lovely experience. Yeah, same kind of feeling, that you don't have to think about it in this complicated world, that you're doing an action maybe for hours at a time without any thought, with just touch. Yeah, I think that's the therapeutic thing. Yeah. So you can see, by doing this and using your hands like this, over time your hands get very, very strong.
Say that.
Yeah. So you have to be careful when you shake hands with people. As my doctor found out when I was in for my MOT, and he was testing my reflexes, pushing and all this, and then he said, "Squeeze my hand." And I said, "How hard do you want me to squeeze, doctor?" And he's kind of dismissive, and he said, "Squeeze as hard as you can." So I did, and he yelped.